cookies. I'm kidding. I feel weird saying like I have a fan base name, but my roommate in college would always call like my followers my cookies because it's like Violet Cooks. So I think it's very cute. So hi cookies. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Violet Cooks. You probably found me through TikTok or Instagram or maybe organically on YouTube, but this is my dog. My Bernese Mountain Dog is keeping me company. I live in San Francisco, I'm gluten-free, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make my gluten-free pie crust. I felt like this needed its own long form video because gluten-free pie crust is so finicky. This pie crust recipe is a long time in the making. I don't wanna be one of those like food vloggers who waxes on for hours telling you the backstory. But basically, I was 7, there was like this charity auction for my school. One of them was a cooking class, and it was like a pie making class specifically at this cafe that got shut down in San Francisco. But it was called, I forget what it was called. It was really good. It was in the Mission. I think it was Mission Street Cafe or something. They had the best pies, and the head chef, Alan, hosted a pie making class. And so that is where I learned to make pie crust. And I have since adapted the recipe to be gluten-free and, you know, my own take on it, but that's where it originated. So thank you, Alan from Mission Beach Cafe. And let's get into it. Okay, first things first. This is the flour we're using. It is called Cup for Cup flour. It's developed by Alice Waters, who's a really good chef in the Bay Area. She's a really good chef in the world, but she's also from the Bay Area, coincidentally. I tried probably every single gluten-free flour, and the Cup for Cup and the Bob's Traditional flour blends are the two best in my opinion. So, it's better to use a gram scale. I don't have a gram scale. We are going to do 3 1/4 cups of the Cup for Cup gluten-free flour into a big mixing bowl. I don't think it matters what kind of mixing bowl you use. I know it does for other stuff like copper bowls or like whatever, for egg whites and stuff, but I think for this, I want to say we're fine. Then again, a fun hack if you're lazy like me, 4 tablespoons is a 1/4 cup if you don't want to get an extra cup dirty, but you have your tablespoons out. Okay, so if you're making like a savory pie, you don't have to add the sugar. It's optional. I like a little sugar. I like a little sweetness. And I'm going to be using this recipe to make pumpkin pie and apple pie today. So I'm going to add some sugar, but if you're making like chicken pot pie or, I don't know, like a different savory pie, this step is optional, but we are also going to do 1 1/4 cup of sugar. So again, 4 tablespoons, same thing. Then we are going to do 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Do that by scooping it off. Yay! Then we're gonna do a teaspoon of sea salt, Sea salt, salt. So I was gonna say it doesn't matter, but it actually kind of does matter. Take a metal whisk and whisk everything together really thoroughly. You just want it thorough so it doesn't like rise unevenly. I don't know. Part of me is like, I've been cooking for so long, I don't want to say stuff that's like seems basic and intuitive, but it's also like, I don't want to not say enough. Because I feel like sometimes if I don't say stuff, I'll get comments where people are like, well, how long do you whisk it for? Or like, but then sometimes if I do say stuff, people will like DM me and be like, do you think we're fucking stupid? If I could show you guys, I mean, I could show you guys my DMs, but well, I couldn't show you some of them. Anyways, we have our flour. The second most important thing to flour is butter. I like European butter, so like Kerrygold, Plugra, like, or French butter. There's a ton of really good brands, but like the really gross like clover butter that's just cheap, you want Happy Cows. Like happy cows, in general, happy animals make better food, which I'm probably gonna get some hate for, but it is what it is. So always get unsalted butter when you're cooking. Unsalted butter is fresher because salt is a preservative, so it'll stay on the shelves longer if it's salted. So whenever you're buying unsalted butter, you're getting fresher butter. A chef told me that. We're gonna take a knife and just cut this down the center because this is 1 pound of butter. So, and we need half a pound of butter. You stick of butter and use one of these thin little slicey things, and you get really thin little shaves of butter, and it's a lot easier. Because you want it to be quick, because you want the butter to stay cold, and you want really thin slices. Is that dog fur? So we should have these kind of like little flakes of butter. You want really thin pieces kind of pressed into the flour, because when it bakes, those butter flakes melt and they cook the dough and they leave air pockets, making it really thin and flaky and crispy, which is what we want. You don't want to use a food processor. You can kind of get away with that with gluten, but that is not our case, unfortunately, my fellow gluten-free people. So now what we're gonna do is, this is when the dough starts to come together. So we're gonna take a little bit of water, and you don't wanna add the water all at once. You wanna add it little by little, kind of toss everything together, and it'll start to form like a dough ball. Probably like 1 tablespoon at a time, and then take widespread fingers and kind of toss it like this. You just want it to absorb it. You really don't want to knead, because this ruins the butter flakes. And you want to just get a moister dough, a little wet, dampen the dough. Okay, it's a little wetter. We're gonna add, and you want to drizzle the water. We're gonna add another tablespoon. Repeat that process of kind of tossing. Ooh, look at her, look at her. She's coming together. It usually ends up being around half a cup of water to 2/3 of a cup of water. Okay, and we're starting to get bigger clumps as we kind of toss. And it's okay to start pressing. See how the dough is starting to form a little bit? That's what we want. So we know it's working. Don't take your jewelry off, otherwise it'll get disgusting. If you have like an engagement ring, get all up in it. I bet you a hidden halo would just get nasty with pie dough. And you always want to taste your food. I read, if you're a chef that doesn't taste your food, you're not a good cook, you're just lucky. So, here we have it. Parchment paper. Dough ball on the parchment paper. Imagine if this just shattered. And you want to push out. You never want to go back and forth, because if you just push out, you will eventually get a circle. That is pretty freaking good. So I'm gonna take pie pan. That was good. That was good. I'm gonna give myself credit for that. That was a pretty good little pie transfer. That was pretty slick. Now, take a little brush. The rubber ones do not work as well as like the non-rubber horsehair ones. I don't know if it's horsehair. You guys know what I'm talking about. So you take it in your little brush. You just kind of gently want to do like a little thin layer all over everything, because we're going to do multiple coats. So this coat will kind of soak in and dry. And then we're going to go back and pull this puppy out of the oven. And this is great because if you're doing a pie that's like kind of a wetter pie, like a pumpkin pie where you pour it in, this creates almost like a little protective shell on top of the pie. And so you get a much crispier pie crust than you would if you didn't do like a little egg wash. So, fun hack. Just want to get it all up in there. It also moistens it a little bit, so we're going to kind of repair our pie crust in the spots where it was like a little ugly. Then take the fork you used to whisk and dock your pie, which is just pressing little holes in the bottom. Because when you cook it, air bubbles will form, and those air bubbles will warp the bottom of your pie crust if you don't dock it. And you want to do a couple in the sides as well. Okay, she is done. I'm gonna let this pie cool a little bit. It's a very fluffy pie for whatever reason, but I'm gonna let her cool a little bit. And then I made some whipped cream, and I'm gonna have a slice. But anyways, my name is Violet. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram. I'm gonna try and be more consistent on YouTube. So follow, like, subscribe if you wanna see more.